Hi, I'm Sequoiah with Project Tree Collard, and a bunch of you have requested a video on how to sow your tree collard seeds that you bought from me on projecttreecollard.org. So today's video is about sowing your tree collard seeds. So diving right on in there to firstly equipment that you will need for your seeds. Usually the more expensive potting soils have really high quality natural ingredients, which is why I don't recommend the cheaper brands of potting soil. And potting soil is a fabricated medium to get your seeds started or to use in pots or containers of any kind. It's meant and designed to drain well, but also have some nutrients. So you want to make sure that you have something with ingredients like mycorrhizae, bat guano, things like that, that are going to give your seeds a nice start in the world. Today I am using something called Happy Frog potting soil, and it's in a bucket here. But the main thing is you don't want to use soil from the ground because that is too dense and doesn't drain well. Plus it could have some disease or something in it that will not make for success with your seeding. Some customers ask if they can direct seed into the soil. And my answer is, yeah, you could definitely do that and you could try, but these are kind of pricey. I harvest them all by hand, which is why they're so expensive. And if you want to take that risk, go right ahead. If you just want a couple tree collards and there's 30 seeds in the packet, then you could direct seed them in your garden and just try to protect them from pests. I'd like to take a moment for a special request. I would like your support with the Project Tree Collard channel because I'm creating content for you to help you in your journey of growing tree collards. I have not monetized yet, which means I am doing this entirely volunteer. I'm buying equipment, I'm waking up early, and I'm getting out all this stuff, and I'm showing you and editing all for free. Thumbs up on the video. Please subscribe to the channel and check out the 40 plus videos I have on all things tree collard, from pruning to harvesting leaves to what to do when your tree collards bloom. Thank you. So now we're on to containers, and I'm going to try to make it quick. But if you're just doing a few seeds, you could use an upcycled 6-pack. They come in different sizes and shapes. I tend to save them when I purchase plants for purposes like that, where I just want to seed a few plants. Then if you're doing, let's say you're going to do a bunch of cauliflower and cabbage and tree collards, and mustard greens and whatever, you might want to choose something that has a lot of holes in it, and then you label each hole. So like you could choose to do 1 row of tree collard seeds, 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. And I use these a lot. With all of these containers, you want a tray that drains well. That one drains really well. Then you have something with larger cells like this, which could also be used. Or this crazy one from Bootstrap Farmer with very large holes and slits in these. I could jump up and down on this for the next 10 years as long as I store it properly in the potting shed out of UV light. This thing is going to last. This is really strong and it's heavy. And I also got really great trays from Bootstrap Farmer. They're very strong. These are like 30 years old. They're made of styrofoam. They work really well also. So sometimes I get those out. You can see they're a lot larger. So you have to make sure they fit on your potting bench or in your situation that you have for plant propagation. So I've got my potting soil in here. I like to put the potting soil in little containers here so that it's easier to disperse. I'm going to choose to use this one today. And I'm just putting the potting soil slowly along. Now, I forgot to say one more thing about the soil, which is some of them have a lot of wood chips or chunks in there. Like I think this might be literally a stone. Whoops. Sometimes I find things that look like a watermelon seed or something, but this is a piece of bark. So you want to try to remove those, especially from the top. One way you can do that is by screening your potting soil, but I tend to be lazy and just pick out the big chunks that I come across. Basically, tree collard seeds and are the same as any broccoli plant. So if you have seeded mustard greens before, or cauliflower or cabbage or broccoli before, this will be old hat to you. They're all kind of planted the same because they're all around the same size. They're little round seeds. They're dark in color and they're pretty easy to seed. So right now, let's say I want to do the whole packet because I want to grow a tree collard forest. Then I get my reading glasses so I can see better. And I take my little packet, little Ziploc. I put some of them in my palm. I don't do them all at once. I make sure I put that down where it doesn't blow away. And I just generally put one seed per cell because they have an excellent germination rate. There was a little piece of pearlite that was a little chunky and big right near the seed, so I took it out. And I get the extra seeds back in the packet. And you should be able to use these for 5 years or so. Like, they will lessen with their germination rate over time every year, but they still stay viable. And then I poke the seed down just a hair, which a hair in my book is about 1/4 of an inch. So just this one row here is what I planted. And because they're so I have a very small indent in the center there. And because they don't like to be planted super deep, I'm just taking soil from the outer part of the cell and I'm just pressing that over the top. So I am barely covering these seeds. When I water, the soil level will recede in every cell and they will get a little more covered with soil. If you are taking care of your little plants that you've seeded and you happen to see a seed on the surface, poke it back down and it will probably be fine as long as it's been getting watered. That is how I put the seeds in the little cells. So this very important last section is about the follow-up. Once the seeds have germinated, they've got true leaves, they're maybe about this tall, you need to get them out of these containers and into either into the ground or into a larger container. I tend to recommend moving to a 4-inch container before putting them in the garden from this size, because when they're a bit bigger, they're more protected against slugs and other predators. If you transplant them out when they're about the size of these little guys, they're very susceptible to just one night some roly-polies coming out, or pincher bugs or slugs or whatever, and them just being gone. So I'm going to show you about how to get these out of the containers into 4-inch ones, but I'm using tomatoes in my example because I don't have any tree collard seedlings right now. So I've put the nice high quality potting soil in there and I tamp it down. And then I use a seedling transplanter. This is a stainless steel, wonderful tool. I love it so much. And I stick it in there very carefully and I pull the seedling out very gently. It sort of balances on there. I want to try to avoid touching the stem. Now remember, this is not a tomato. This is a tree collard, and they get planted on the same soil level that they have here. Whoops. Okay. Same soil level they have here with the soil level in here. So I dig my hole and I gently slide it with the soil still intact. I'm very gently holding it and backfilling the soil around it, patting down very nicely, saying, "Welcome to the world, happy new home." Once it's grown for a week or two in this container, you could use a little bit of fertilizer if you're really, really wanting to. I don't encourage a lot of fertilizer because it encourages plants to put on a sudden flush of new growth that attracts insects such as aphids. So I hope this video helps you in your journey on taking your tree collard seeds that you got from projecttreecollard.org and turning them into seedlings. Thanks for watching. Please like the video. Please support the channel. I've got a whole lot of content for you to watch on all things tree collard.